Hey all, Michelle Raza here with the Finding Yourself Book Club, and today we're going to talk about Lindsay Gibson's Recovering from Emotionally Immature Parents. For those of you that have been along for the long haul, this is our second book by Lindsay Gibson. We previously covered her adult children of emotionally immature parents. I started out chapters 1 through 6 just kind of reading from the book, which actually to this day are my most popular YouTube videos, and I just find that funny because it's like the lighting is terrible and and I apparently didn't know, like in the first recording I had the camera backwards, so it was like on mirror mode. It looked like I was reading back to front. I didn't realize about the pause button, and then I would record for too long. So it was a bit of a mess, but apparently the information and what Lindsay teaches us about is so valuable that even to this day, those are the most popular videos. So it's a blessing, and it's really good to have you guys on this journey with me. It's quite a bit to learn. So thank you for being here. Please do like and subscribe. It really does help us little YouTubers. And also check out our website. We're at www.findingyourselfsatx.com. There you can fill out our life balance questionnaire and send it to us. You can also just fill out a contact form, and we'll be in touch. All right, cool. Well, let me dive into this. Okay, so last time that we talked about Lindsay Gibson, we went over, so chapter 1, there was a little bit of a journal exercise, and then I went into details of the emotionally immature relationship system, just because even though Lindsay had talked about it previously, she hadn't used those terms, so I wanted to make sure that you guys had that. I'm sorry, I thought I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Okay. Exit out. It's super bright when it's recording, so if anything pops up, it's really bright on the phone. Sorry, it looked like I was poking you. My apologies. I was not trying to. So today we're going to talk about understanding emotionally immature parents, their personality traits, and emotional takeovers. So this chapter does begin with an exercise. So go ahead and grab your journal. If you need to, pause this video, go get your journal, and then come back. Just like we did in the last exercise module, we did the exercise. I kind of gave a brief overview of the chapter, and then I again went over the exercise one more time, just because the first time you hear it, you get a bit of the ickies. You don't want to go through it. I didn't want to go through it, but you have to. So take your time with these videos, pause as you need to, take out your journal, do the exercises. It feels stupid, but it works and it helps you. And of course, if you want to do a live session, call us and we can find time to meet with you. Okay. EI parents and EIPs approach life and relationships in a me-first way that makes others feel disregarded. But once you understand their personality traits, you won't take their rejections so personally, and you won't feel as pressured by their emotional needs. So before we go any further, let's assess the EI characteristics of your parent. In your journal, note which of the following statements describe one or both of your parents. Number 1. And actually, I think this is the same set of exercises that were in her previous book. Number 1. My parent often overreacted to relatively minor things. 2. My parent didn't express much empathy or awareness of my feelings. 3. When it came to deeper feelings and emotional closeness, my parents seemed uncomfortable and didn't go there. 4. My parent was often irritated by individual differences or different points of view. 5. When I was growing up, my parent used me as a confidant, but wasn't a confidant for me. 6. My parents often said and did things without thinking about people's feelings. 7. I didn't get much attention or sympathy from my parent, except maybe when I was really sick. 8. My parent was innocent. Sometimes wise. My parent was inconsistent. Sometimes wise, sometimes unreasonable. 9. Conversations mostly centered on my parents' interests. 10. If I became upset, my parent either said something superficial and unhelpful or got angry and sarcastic. 11. Even polite disagreements could make my parent very defensive. 12. It was deflating to tell my parent about my successes because it didn't seem to matter. 13. I frequently felt guilty for not doing enough or caring enough for them. 14. Facts and logic were no match for my parents' opinions. 15. My parent wasn't self-reflective and rarely looked at their part in a problem. 16. My parent tended to be a black and white thinker, unreceptive to new ideas. Because all these behaviors are typical of EI personalities, even checking a few of these traits strongly suggests the presence of emotional immaturity. So the next section talks about types of EI parents, which I think we've covered in detail. And then we go into how these emotionally immature parents or emotionally immature people reveal their emotional immaturity. So this is how EI parents approach life. EI parents are fundamentally fearful and insecure. They need to dominate and control. They define themselves and others by roles. They are egocentric, not self-reflective. They blame others and excuse themselves. They are impulsive and don't tolerate stress. How they deal with reality. EI parents use coping mechanisms that resist reality. So I'm trying to read sections so that I don't read the whole book. It says here, most immature EIPs try to alter reality by denying, dismissing, or distorting facts they don't like. At the lowest level of maladaptive coping mechanisms, a person might lose touch with consensual reality and become psychotic. Not saying your parents are psychotic or the EIPs in your life are psychotic, but they might be very dismissive. I've known a few people who are very dismissive, and if you try and pressure them on maybe how you see things or how things seem to be on the consensus of what you would say the consensus of reality, they just won't see it, right? Like the person with the sunburn who's like, oh no, it's just a suntan, but it's a sunburn and everyone can see it's a sunburn. And of course the example wouldn't be that extreme, but it's something along those lines where it's obvious to everyone else, but that person just doesn't want to see it. Reality is determined by their emotions. They deny and dismiss the reality of others' feelings. Their intense emotions oversimplify reality. They disregard reality's time sequence. So this, she did talk about this in her other book. I think it's summed up pretty well here when she says, they are famous for their philosophy of moving on and getting over it and other forms of not processing the lessons of the past. They don't connect the dots to see the overall trajectory of their lives. Therefore, they don't notice when they are repeating past mistakes, nor can they steer themselves toward a different future. So that's the time sequence part of it. Okay, how they think. Their intelligence doesn't extend to the world of feelings. And so that's where they can be very, very smart and leaders in their field and all of these great things. But when it comes to the emotional world, they just aren't. Their thoughts about life are simplistic, literal, and rigid. They become obsessive. They use superficial logic to shut down feelings. So let me go back. They become obsessive. Here's Frida's story. Frida's EI father was furious when she got engaged to a man from another race. Her father had zero interest in seeing her side of things because she had broken one of his rules. When he couldn't intimidate Frida into changing her mind, he disowned her. After Frida left, she felt like a ghost because no one was allowed to welcome her as a family member. They become obsessive. Like Frida's father, when EIPs or EI parents feel hurt, embarrassed, or like their authority is disrespected, they get stuck in obsessive anger. They see the world as made up of good guys and bad guys, and they dwell obsessively on anyone who they think has wronged them. They lack the mental flexibility or emotional willingness to see things another way, or to let go. That's not written down, but that's part of it. They use superficial logic to shut down feelings. So this is where you, instead of offering empathy, you apply logic. Like, there's nothing to be sad about, but it's like, well, the person is sad. So there is something to be sad about because they're sad. Okay, so that's the end of this section. Next section, I'll go over emotional coercions and takeover tactics. And that was super duper high level. So I do recommend you pick up your own copy of the book. Give me a call if you want to talk more about it. And let's go back over the exercise one more time. Grab your journal if you didn't grab it the first time I told you to. Pause this story, pause this video, and then come back when you're ready. Okay, so this is an assessment to see if the people in your life are emotionally immature. And so where it says parents, replace it with whoever you're thinking about. Brother, sister, friend, coworker. It's emotionally immature people in your life, okay? In your journal, note which of the following statements describe one or both of your parents. You may want to complete this exercise multiple times thinking about different people. Just write their name at the top, and then as you listen, check off, write 1, check 2, no, etc. To do the exercise. 1. My parent often overreacted to relatively minor things. 2. My parent didn't express much empathy or awareness of my feelings. 3. When it came to deeper feelings and emotional closeness, my parents seemed uncomfortable and didn't go there. 4. My parent was often irritated by individual differences or different points of view. 5. When I was growing up, my parent used me as a confidant, but wasn't a confidant for me. 6. My parent often said and did things without thinking about people's feelings. 7. I didn't get much attention or sympathy from my parent, except maybe when I was really sick. 8. My parent was inconsistent, sometimes wise, sometimes unreasonable. 9. Conversations mostly centered on my parents' interests. 10. If I became upset, my parent either said something superficial and unhelpful or got angry and sarcastic. 11. Even polite disagreement could make my parent very defensive. 12. It was deflating to tell my parent about my successes because it didn't seem to matter. 13. I frequently felt guilty for not doing enough or not caring enough for them. 14. Facts and logic were no match for my parents' opinions. 15. My parent wasn't self-reflective and rarely looked at their part in a problem. 16. My parent tended to be a black and white thinker, unreceptive to new ideas. Because all these behaviors are typical of EI personalities, even checking a few of these traits strongly suggests the presence of emotional immaturity. So that's a little depressing, right? You go and you do this quiz and then you're like, oh, darn it, my boyfriend or my girlfriend, my wife, my coworker, my parent, they're emotionally immature. What do I do? And so the next chapters, this first half of this chapter is really like a summary of her first book, where she spends the entire book explaining how to identify emotionally immature parents. And then in chapter 8, talks about coping skills, and this book is the opposite. So chapter 2, the first half starts with teaching us how to identify, and from there on out we're pretty much learning coping skills. So that's the purpose of this book, is you've already learned what an EIP is. Now how do you grab a hold of your life and set appropriate boundaries to not let them take over your life. And in some cases, right, it's easy. You just cut off your relationship with them. But when we're talking about parents or family members where you want to maintain a relationship, you just want it to be as healthy as possible, that's where really her tips will help you. So please do like and subscribe. Check out our website. We're at www.findingyourselfsatx.com. Thanks, y'all. Have a great evening. Talk to you soon.